Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is my honor to rise in Parliament this morning to deliver a ministerial statement on the announcement I made in Nasinu last Tuesday, the change to a new national flag that reflects Fiji's position in the world as a modern and independent nation state. As I said then, I chose Nasinu for that historic occasion, for this historic occasion, because I wanted to make an announcement before an audience of ordinary Fijians. Nasinu, being the most populous corridor in Fiji, as the most populous corridor in Fiji, nowhere seemed appropriate than this place. But today, it is my pleasure to officially make the announcement in Parliament to the elected representatives of the people, who will naturally have a very important part to play in this undertaking, including, of course, the consideration of the final designs. And I look forward to this process and to all members engaging in this endeavor in a productive, open-minded, of course, patriotic manner. Madam Speaker, those who have been following the issue know that I first came up with the subject and signaled the need to revamp Fiji's flag in my New Year's address at the start of 2013. But during that period, we were involved in putting in a lot of place a lot of reforms, especially to do with our constitution and Fiji's first genuinely democratic election. Now, with these reforms over and complete, it is time to proceed with the program to replace the symbols of our existing flag that are now out of date and no longer relevant. Symbols are tied to a colonial past that is now far behind us as a nation. After 45 years, Madam Speaker, it is time to move beyond these colonial connections and adopt a flag that is more in keeping with our national aspirations in the 21st century. As I've said, there is no way repudiation of our existing flag, which has served our nation well since independence in 1970. But time has moved on. Before this flag, our United Nations peacekeeping troops have fought and sometimes died. As I have also said, before this flag, our athletes have competed and won many sporting triumphs that we have celebrated together as a nation. And I mentioned Assistant Minister Delana in particular. And before this flag, generations of school kids, or school children have stood singing the national anthem with patriotism and pride. But I pay tribute to its creators, whose design won out over 400 other designs during the original competition in 1970. And I understood the panel then was made up of the Prime Minister and 3 other members of Parliament. But I want to assure the House that we want to include as many people as possible, of course not the 800,000 people in Fiji, but a good number of people that would form the panel for this flag design. But 45 years later, Madam Speaker, it is time to move on from these honored symbols of our past to new symbols that represent our nation. Now that will also resonate with future generations in the decades and generations to come. We believe that Fijians share an aspiration to have a national symbol that reflects our present state as a nation, that is indigenous and truly Fijian symbols of identity, and that we can honor and defend as an authentic expression of our nation now and into the future. Madam Speaker, I must tell you that this is not a decision that we are undertaking lightly. The members who sit with me on this side of the House and the wider community of the Fiji First Movement contested the election under stylized version of our noble banner blue. So no one understands better the importance of a flag as a unifying symbol, its ability to draw us together in the common cause of moving our beloved nation forward. In other words, Madam Speaker, as I've said before, we understand how much flags matter. They are not merely pieces of cloth on top of a pole. They are expressions of who we are and the values we hold dear as Fijians. That's why it's time to embrace change. It is time to dispense with symbols that speak more about our past than our future, to sever links that are no longer relevant. It is time to have a national symbol that reflects our present and our future state as a nation. Madam Speaker, I would like to again thank the British High Commissioner for Fiji for his encouraging and open-minded reaction to our announcement, having said that this is a matter for the Fijian government and the Fijian people to decide. He knows that our decision to remove British symbols from our flags is separate from the very strong friendship we have with Britain. As I keep on saying, the British were friends before, the British are friends now, and they will be our friends long into the future. But I also said over the last couple of weeks, Madam Speaker, that the Union flag, the British Lion and the Cross of St. George are their symbols. They are not ours. As an independent nation, we have the right to carve out our own identity in the world. So that when our soldiers go on peacekeeping missions, when our diplomats are representing us at the UN, when our athletes are competing onto the world stage, they are doing so under a flag that is uniquely and proudly Fijian, that leaves no doubt in anyone's mind that Fiji has its own destiny chosen by its own people. There's been some criticism from those who prefer the British symbols to our own, Madam Speaker, but overall I've been very encouraged to see how many Fijians have their eyes on the future, not in the past. In particular amongst the younger generations, to see how many believe in the vision of a new flag. I note, Madam Speaker, that the opposition have come up with their own version. We've been wearing it from day one. This is patriotism. I don't know what that is. But every person, Madam Speaker, will naturally have stronger feelings about our national flag and what symbols it should include. And I look forward to hearing as many of those opinions as possible during both the submission phase of the competition and, of course, during the period of public consultations. But, Madam Speaker, I hear comments, some from the members opposite, that are trying to undermine this important, noble national endeavor. Especially from people like Biman Prasad, those who say that there are more important priorities than changing the flag. Yeah? Yeah? Thank God they're on that side of the House, Madam Speaker, because it shows they can only do one thing at a time. One of my old mentors, Madam Speaker, Major Johnson, used to say, "This is a left finger job." Luckily, my government is not limited by such a restriction, Madam Speaker. Our record speaks for itself. We are always on the go. firing all cylinders. We are always looking to see how we can improve our services, how we can embrace innovation to assist our development, how we can develop policies that improve Fijians' quality of life and boost their ability to make ends meet. And all at the same time, I must say. Policies like our free water initiative that has been mentioned, that has been rolled across the country, our free medicine initiative, our massive investment in infrastructure, and our reform of state-owned enterprises and civil service, which are being supported by institutions like the ADB, the World Bank, IFC, and of course our bilateral partners. Policies that have led to an estimated growth of 4.2% in 2014. Some are still at 1%, Madam Speaker. As reported in today's Fiji Sun, and of course another impressive year ahead. Policies that have already led to 5 consecutive years of growth, policies that have kept inflation low and are creating much needed jobs, especially for our young people. We can all do all that, Madam Speaker, and still come up with this new flag that we're talking about. Madam Speaker, these are just a few examples we could draw from a list of achievements in the last few months alone. So no, we do not see this change in of our national flag as a distraction. In fact, we see it as an inspiration. A new flag to reflect how far we've come together. A new flag that gives every Fijian a symbol we can be even more proud of as we continue to build a stronger and more unified nation and achieve the greatness that we all believe we are capable of. The Fijian nation taller and stronger than in the world than ever before. Madam Speaker, as you also know, Fiji is not alone in wanting to make the transformation to our national symbol to reflect the changes that have occurred in our society gaining independence. Both Australia and New Zealand debating replacing the Union flag as well. And of course, in New Zealand, the process is well underway. In fact, on Waitangi Day last Friday, the New Zealand Prime Minister John Key restated his case for changing New Zealand's national flag. He, of course, expressed admiration for what we're doing in Fiji, because you know that Fiji is leading the way in dropping symbols of an old association and adopting a flag that represents who we are, a proud nation. Madam Speaker, beyond our immediate neighbors, the world is also taking notice of our bold decision. Our plan has been covered by major media outlets around the globe of 5 continents, as far away as India, Russia, Sri Lanka, Ireland, Cuba, Venezuela, and Malaysia. And Madam Speaker, as I outlined last week, the Fijian government will conduct a national competition for the design of the new flag, which we will embark on a series of broad consultations. Which we will embark on a series of broad consultations across the country on the appropriateness of those designs. The process will be inclusive and based on a general consensus. All Fijians, including school children, will be encouraged to enter competition. We will encourage new designs, of course, and symbols, including indigenous fauna, flora and art that are unique to Fiji, designs and symbols that reflect an independent and authentic Fiji. And we will encourage an imaginative approach, and we will have an open mind about the final result. At this stage, as I've said before, my personal preference would be to keep the unique Fiji blue flag as the flag, Fiji blue as the flag's background, but without the Union flag, without the Union Jack, and of course the shield. But I'm excited to see whatever ideas the Fijian people can come up with.
Order.
The symbols on the new flag should represent the aspirations of every Fijian, regardless of who they are, what their background is, or which part of Fiji they come from. And I urge all Fijians, young, old, cross the genders, even those from the other side of the house, able, disabled, rural, urban, to join our effort to design a symbol that we can all identify with and is instantly recognizable as Fijian the world over. I have said, Madam Speaker, that the National Panel of citizens chosen from a broader section of Fijian society will be set up by government to examine the submitted designs. The panel will begin the process of reviewing the entries in order to determine the final selection. We expect the panel to be chosen in February and the competition, of course, to also commence in February. I will be writing a letter to the leader of the opposition in the next week or so, inviting her to make nominations for the panel, which we envisage to consist of up to maybe 10, 15 members from all walks of life, as I've mentioned. Fijians will have 2 months to create their designs and submit them. And a single design may not be the final design, of course, but it might form the basis of a wider design and play an important role in the final outcome. Madam Speaker, it will naturally take time to make the transition. We will not only have to replace all existing flags, but also change signals and stationery and issue new flags, change the one they have on the table, and issue new flags to Fijian embassies and High Commission around the world, as well as to the many international organizations which Fiji is a member. So like the recent changes in our national currency, this transition will not take place overnight. But the whole selection process has been designed so that we will be ready to hoist our new flag on the 45th anniversary of our independence, October the 10th, 2015. Until then, of course, our current flag will retain its honored place in our national life. Madam Speaker, by way of clarification, I would like to state that there is no law that governs the usage of or design of the Fijian flag. There is a law that governs the use of Fijian coat of arms, the coat of arms, of course. The Restriction of Use Act, but this does not extend to the flag. Therefore, at the same time we are ready to hoist the new flag, my government intends to table a law in Parliament that will govern the usage of the flag, including provisions that deal with its desecration as well as its proper display, usage and care. Madam Speaker, I will call on all Fijians to join us in this historic undertaking. Everyone has something to contribute, of course, and no one with an idea should be afraid of sharing it. What's more, Madam Speaker, all Fijians accept that something so important should be apolitical, so I would ask everyone, including the members of this House, to participate in this process in that spirit. As I said during the announcement, last week we hold our heads high on the world stage as a strong independent nation. We have an independent foreign policy of being enemies to none and friends to all. And our new flag needs to make us stand even taller and prouder than our existing one. And it will, because we are genuinely independent and are standing taller and prouder as Fijians than ever before. This will be a flag for all Fijians, Madam Speaker, and our new democracy's most important symbol, the symbol of a modern, independent, and strong Fiji. Madam Speaker, with those words, I conclude my statement. Thank you for giving me the floor and your attention. Vinak.
I thank the Honourable Prime Minister for the statement. I will now call on the opposition to make a 5-minute response.
Madam Speaker, I've been tasked by my party to reply to the Prime Minister on this proposition to change our flag. At the outset, let me say, Madam Speaker, it is very irresponsible for this government to be encouraging this kind of dialogue at this juncture in our development. This dialogue is polarizing our people. Already, we are getting feedback from people that some are very strongly against it and representing a major part of our community. Let me just touch a bit about this outdated relics that is being used to describe the Union Jack. The Union Jack, Madam Speaker, was created in 1606 by King James I. King James was King James VI of Scotland. At the passing of Queen Elizabeth I, who was unmarried, she recommended to her people to bring King James from Scotland to be King of England. They did that, and he created the flag of union in 1606, covering the cross of St. George and the cross of St. Andrew, hence the beginning of the Union Jack. King James, Madam Speaker, in 1611 created the King James Version of the Bible, which became the most important English translation of the Bible across the English-speaking world. How can we, a country with a majority Christian, can say these are relics that are no longer applicable to us? St. George, Madam Speaker, was an army officer in the Roman Imperial Army. He stood up against the Emperor Diocletian when he was persecuting the Christians. He was one of the favorites of the emperor, but he stood up for the Christians, and the emperor said, "You either come my way or you get executed." He got executed. He became the Christian saint of England, St. George. How can we say that someone who stood up for Christians at that time, in the Roman time, is no longer relevant to us today? St. Andrew, Madam Speaker, is very simply the brother of Peter the disciple. How can we say that St. Andrew is no longer applicable to us? Here is a flag. Here is the Union Jack that takes us back to the Lord Jesus Christ. One of his disciples, Prince Andrew, his cross is on this flag. Takes us back to the persecution of the Christians back in the Roman times. Of course, later, St. Patrick of Ireland with his white cross came in, and hence the red, white, and blue. Red, Madam Speaker, symbolizes the blood of Christ. We all are part of this holy sacrament every week, every month. The blood of Christ, we all know about it. The white is the robe of righteousness of Christ, as in the book of Revelation, and the blue is the color of service. If you look up Exodus, this is blue in the color of service. So red, white, and blue, Madam Speaker, is part of our heritage, part of Christ, and a major part of the people of Fiji. Madam Speaker, the King James Version, it came to Fiji, we translated it, and became our Bible. It is by far the most important one, even for us in Fiji, Madam Speaker. It helped bring enlightenment, took away cannibalism, took away everything from us to become Christians. Madam Speaker, you cannot say this flag is no longer relevant to us. And the Union Jack, Madam Speaker, Union Jack became Pax Britannica. You remember that. Between 1815 and 1914, the English Navy ruled the world, ruled the waves. Through that English Navy, the words of Christ began to spread across the world, and the security for people like us, who today are celebrating that we control 90% of our land and it has not been alienated in any way at all. Madam Speaker, the people of Fiji today don't want this flag to be changed. The best thing Fiji First can do is go for a referendum. Go for a referendum, Madam Speaker, and we'll settle this issue. And I believe, Madam Speaker, the people of Fiji are beginning to have second thoughts about the mandate they gave to this government. Let's do that now, Madam Speaker. This referendum will decide all that. Thank you, Madam. I speak for the majority of Fiji that we don't change this flag at all. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your response to the Prime Minister's statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, let me apologize for my voice. I'm suffering with a little cold. But let me, first of all, thank the Honorable Prime Minister for his statement. There are a number of things that the Honorable Prime Minister has referred to, which I agree. I think the first one that he talked about was change. Madam Speaker, change is inevitable. We all like change. But this country has seen some of the biggest changes, and they came through coups. 1987, 2000, 2006.
Order.
The legacy that the colonial rulers left for us in this country, Madam Speaker, is rule of law. And I think the Prime Minister is right when he is talking about concentrating on important issues which I have highlighted already. Madam Speaker, the best way, and I like the Prime Minister when he keeps talking about inclusivity, having an inclusive process. I think that's a very noble way to do things. And I think the best way to think about changing this flag, which is a national symbol of importance, which is an indelible part of our history, symbolizing transition from 96 years of colonial rule, is to let the people decide. Yes. I think there are strong opinions about changing the flag. There are strong opinions about not changing the flag. And I'm sure there are members on the other side who probably don't believe that flag should be changed. Maybe they should have a vote in their caucus first. Whether they want to change it or not, they should have a vote in their own caucus. But, Madam Speaker, that would be the best way to begin the discussion about changing the flag for our country. The Prime Minister made reference to New Zealand. If you look at what Australia and New Zealand are trying to do with respect to either becoming a republic or with respect to changing their flag, they're talking about free, fair, and credible referendum. And in fact, the Prime Minister talked about the Honourable Prime Minister of New Zealand. And in his speech, Madam Speaker, let me quote. The Prime Minister said that he would like to see a new New Zealand flag raised at the dawn of service at Waitangi in 2040, the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi. Madam Speaker, as far as New Zealand is concerned, the first vote will happen at the end of the year, and people will be asked which 3 of 4 alternative flag designs they like the best. And a second vote, which will be a runoff between the current flag and the preferred alternative, will take place in April 2016. That is what we are saying, Madam Speaker, that this is such an important exercise. This is such an important part of our history. And the people of this country must have a very, very clear choice. And the only way that you can give them a clear choice, a clear method to decide whether they like the flag or not, is a referendum. Yes. Madam Speaker, let me just add to the idea of referendum. In fact, I would say to the government side that they should take this opportunity while they are talking about changing the flag through a referendum to look at some of the other issues. Changing Section 173 of the Constitution, Section 4, Part C of the Constitution, which actually affects Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which contravenes the Bill of Rights. The change that we want to talk about our standing in the world will come through genuine democracy, free media, and changing some of the draconian decrees that are still in place, Madam Speaker. And I would urge the government to think about these things. Let's not rush into it. Let's be inclusive. Let's not jump the gun. So, again, Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I urge the Prime Minister to rethink how he's planning to change such an important national symbol, which is part of our history, which is important, and include an inclusive process and have a referendum. Thank you, Madam Speaker.